to run that bass low.
Hey, what's going on, guys? VT here, and we being me and a special guest of mine, are picking up where we left off with all the big news and this new edition of the V Podcast, which I am calling the Valiant Revisiting of the V Podcast. Now, this is going to be very informal. We're just kind of going to go over everything that just happened in the past day or two. And, of course, I'm talking about Gamescom. And here to do that with me is, like I said, a very good friend of mine, Glacier from Gamers at Stream. Would you say hello?
Hey, guys. How's it going?
And had him on many times before. Always provides great commentary. He's got his own site, gamersatstream.org. You guys should definitely check it out. I just posted a review for Stealth Inc. up there, as well as a general recap bullet point of the Sony 2013 Gamescom press conference. So in case you don't want to listen to me, you can head over there right now. Link will be in the description. But like I said, this is going to be very informal, so we're pretty much just going to get right into it. And I'm just going to start off by saying that it was a pretty damn decent conference. I got to watch the whole thing at work, which was great. I know some of us missed out. But there was, a pretty hefty amount of good information and good things to look forward to in this. First, starting off with what they showed was the PS4 user interface. And it was kind of disappointing because what they showed was never really at direct angles, never at direct feed. But we did get to see a lot of the switching between different things in the UI, such as going from games to music to messaging, and it's all sort of reminiscent, actually, of the Xbox 360. It's got this very square shape, shapes going through it, very smooth left to right. A lot of the same avatars returning, but sort of reimagined from the XMB into the PS4 UI, and it was extremely quick. Just watching Yosp, good lord, go from playing a live Killzone Shadowfall match online to checking his messages and going through a few other things. There was no lag at all. It was wonderful. And of course, like I said, we also got to see some Killzone Shadowfall multiplayer, which was pretty epic. A lot of the same sounds returning there. It's hard to see with the screen because they're all over the place. But definitely looked great on the huge 60-foot screens, and a great way to start off a conference. And then they started off going from there to sort of recap, pulled away from the PS4, and started talking about the PS3 and how right now it's on its 8th year and still going strong. And talking about just a few more games that are going to go in there, such as Gran Turismo 6, which has a release date of December 6th. And, I'm not a big racing guy, so I've never really gotten into the Gran Turismos, but this one looked pretty legit. And apparently they're basing a movie off of the series, so that's cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Apparently people have heard about this. Have you heard anything at all before today?
No, actually. The only movie with cars based on the game that I was aware of was Need for Speed. However, Gran Turismo, it shocked me when I heard that they were working alongside Sony Pictures to get this Gran Turismo movie in production, and they're working with Yamauchi, which I think I might have butchered his name, but he's the creator he's the father of the Gran Turismo series. He's the creator. He's the visioner. Gran Turismo 6 looks cool, no question. I mean, I bought the collector's edition of Gran Turismo 5 back in, a few years ago, back in 2010. Mm-hmm. And 6 is, I'm not having the same excitement for 6, mainly because it's tough. At this point, the PS4 is already out. I'm going to be excited playing whether it's Killzone, Watch Dogs, Battlefield 4. But Gran Turismo 6 is definitely a great title to have for the PS3 this holiday. And I think a December release date is actually kind of appropriate. It's just in time for the holidays. But it should be pretty cool. I mean, there's a lot of enhancements to it, whether it's the visuals, the physics. I know that they're looking to enhance a lot. Do I wish it was kind of coming to the PS4 as like a launch day title? Absolutely, because I think that would have sold like hotcakes on the PS4 day one. But then again, we have Drive Club, so.
Yeah, I think that little changeover from Gran Turismo to Drive Club, a totally new IP, is really gonna help that game succeed and really help the PS4 take off as something different than the PS3 has in the past. So I think that's a good move. Kind of sad for GT6 though, just the fact that it's still stuck on the PS3.
I just don't know. I hope it sells very well. I know Gran Turismo 5 sold very well.
Mm-hmm.
We'll just see. If numbers seem a bit low, then I think it would be a fair assumption to say that was due to the next gen jump, and it was like it just didn't release soon enough. But
yeah.
I could be wrong, and I think it'll still sell. There are plenty of PS3 owners and people who are still buying PS3s now. So there'll be something to look forward to for sure.
Right. Yeah. No doubt. And there's with the new PS3 price drop, I might as well just slip that in right now. It fits pretty well. Well, not really a price drop, but a new model.
Yeah.
The 12 gig PS3 in North America and Europe is going to be on sale now for $199 or 199 euros, which is great if you need a cheap Blu-ray player because it's still the best one out there, or if you just want to pick up like one game or something. So.
And if you're planning on playing Gran Turismo 6 on that model, you're going to need a bigger hard drive.
Yeah, 12 gigs is nothing nowadays.
12 gigs. The Gran Turismo 5 installation was 10 gigs alone.
Was it really? Damn. But, it's not really that out of the question to buy that cheap PS3 and upgrade the hard drive.
Well, I think that's the better intention. I mean, it's very similar to how Microsoft has their Xbox 4 gig, because really, what can you do with 4 gigs?
Shit. My phone is bigger than that.
Exactly, that's what's sad. But yeah, it's basically you get the $200 model. You can get a 500 gig hard drive for like $60, or you can get a 1 TB for $80 on Amazon. So it's like you can do a nice upgrade to that console, and
then you're set. So I think consumers should really look into that sort of option if they're comfortable with it. And with a new PS3, you're gonna have nothing to lose by swapping out the hard drive. So there you go. But as far as other PS3 things announced at the conference, the other main game that they were talking about is, of course, Little Big Planet. They're making a new free-to-play Little Big Planet for the PS3 called Little Big Planet Hub. And to be honest, I missed part of this, and you said you looked into it just a little bit?
Yeah, I caught this, and it seems pretty interesting. The trailer was, it was pretty whimsical. It was pretty funny. Mm-hmm. And they were just showing, basically, what if you could do this with your friends and not have to pay a dime? And what if you could do this and not... And they kept insinuating, basically, that this is a free-to-play game, and it'll be for everybody later this year. I'm sure it'll be a PlayStation Network download, because I can't see them making a disc and box and booklet.
God, I hope not.
Give me for free. As cool as that would be, I'd love to have that, but... It's pretty interesting. I mean, it's basically, I see it being more of like a microtransaction attempt later. I see it having premium content in there that you pay for, but a free-to-play Little Big Planet where, people who maybe never had a chance to play Little Big Planet 1 or 2, or even the PSP, or the one that I really liked, which was the Vita. That ended up being my favorite one. If you never had a chance to play them, I think it's a great way to bring people in, and especially with their new model coming out, that's out now. I think it's a good way to bring in new users who've never experienced Little Big Planet to this day.
Yeah, I agree with that point, that it's, definitely good to bring it out there, because they have a huge fan base, as far as, demographics go. Little Big Planet's fun for everyone,
yes.
which is lovely. But I saw it and I was just like, I love Little Big Planet. I've bought in every single one they have, even karting, and, well, actually I didn't buy the PSP one, but we won't talk about that. But, it's all the same. Even in karting, it was very similar, and it's sort of gotten stale for me. And I really want to see them sort of, there's really no real way to redo Little Big Planet to make it something fresh and new. They just pump out more and more and more and more content. There's over 3,000 different costumes you can buy in the store now. It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous, but I just noticed, I didn't even realize this. I must have missed this. That they have Last of Us costumes.
Yeah, they have costumes for every game.
It's awesome. I love it.
It is awesome, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, Media Molecule, you guys should find something else. You're really good at what you did for Little Big Planet. I really appreciate it. Love the games, but now, let this be your last hurrah. Let them buy the things that are already out there. Let's move on and use your talents towards something else. That's my personal opinion, and I'll leave it at that.
Well, do we know if Media Molecule is even the one doing Hub? Because I have a feeling that it's not even them. I think it might.
I think you're right because I don't remember them being mentioned in it at all.
I want to say it's Tarsier Studios, the people who did the Vita version.
Right.
That's my assumption because they nailed the Vita version. I think that, like I said, I just stated before, that was the Vita version. They had some great levels, some very inventive levels, and they utilized the Vita perfectly with the touchscreen.
Vita version is very good. I really enjoy that too. But and is it Media Molecule? You're probably right. Probably isn't. But at the same time, they did mention that Media Molecule is working on something for the PS4 that's been unannounced. Could it be Little Big Planet? I'm thinking 50-50.
Honestly, I think we're going to see a new IP from Media Molecule for the PS4.
I really hope so. That would make me happy.
So
Anyway, that pretty much wrapped it up for the PS3 for the conference. I mean, for the most part. And then they jumped right in to give the Vita some love, which thank God, because...
Finally.
Yeah, like the Vita has been neglected like a middle child for the past, since it came out. It's sad.
I mean, we were just stating in my podcast, and the podcast we just did earlier this week on Radio Extreme, that we were hoping that they would focus more on the Vita, just bring a little bit more into the Vita to show that you're not, throwing your consumers aside and hoping it doesn't go the route of the PSP Go.
Yeah, no doubt.
And it definitely seems like they listened. And you know what? Take it away, VT. What do we got?
All right, we got tons of content for the Vita. Maybe not what most consumers really want for it, but there's plenty to choose from. So first off, they started with stating some deals that they have mega packs for the PS Vita, and there are already a few of those out already. There are tons of games that you get right away. Mainly in Europe, I believe, is where you can get all these mega packs.
Yeah, mega packs are in Europe only, but I think it would be great if they could bring that into the North American market as well.
Yeah, but Vita isn't region locked, so
that's true.
You can buy the mega pack and play them just fine.
And they're only about €35. They were saying for 6 games with an 8 gig card.
Yeah, and there's also a hardware bundle to pick up a Vita and the card and all these games for a pretty damn decent price. Yeah. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I know it was worth it if you're really interested. And they're not like shitty games. They're all like pretty top-notch games, which are very few to pick from, but there are some.
Right.
And then so they went from the mega packs to saying a few other big games that are coming to the Vita in the future. Obviously, Batman Arkham Origins, which is going to be huge. I think that's going to do extremely well. It looks amazing right now, just from what I've seen.
And just a little fun tidbit: the people who are making Arkham Origins Blackgate for the Vita, and it's going to be for the 3DS as well, but I think they're going to really be pushing it more for the Vita. Is actually a studio made of former members of Retro Studios, and this team was known for their Metroid Prime trilogy, which if you look up reviews, or I'm sure some of you have already played it, you guys all know that those are phenomenal games that all score no lower than 9.0 out of 10 from any critic. So there's no doubt in my mind that Batman Arkham Origins Blackgate is going to be this superb title for the Vita.
Yeah, I strongly think that's going to do very well. I mean, the past Batman games have been just surpassing the one right before it and just doing so well, and that they're moving it over to the Vita, and like you said, great developers behind it. So
yeah,
definitely expect high things from that. Also, Lego Marvel, which are 2 big names coming to the Vita, so that's going to be pretty sweet for that sort of. Oh, really? Lego Marvel is. That's any age group. That's fun shit. You
know what? I'm going to be totally honest. I am 100% stoked for that game. I am. I mean, just they took the Marvel license. They finally, I knew about Lego Batman. I'm like, all right, that's cool. But now you're taking Lego Marvel, which has some of my favorite superheroes, and you're making that into a Lego game. I'm like, that's sold. I'm buying.
I mean, surprisingly, well, actually not really surprisingly, but a lot of the Lego games do really well. They review really well. So
they're just fun games.
Yeah, and then we moved on to a sports aspect with Football Manager, and
yeah,
I got nothing on that. I don't give a shit about Football Manager, but I guess it's a big game. Well, some people are looking forward to it.
It's big in Europe, and just so you guys know, Football Manager meaning soccer.
Yes. Thank you for that clarification.
No problem. Now, I have a feeling that this is not coming to North America. I have a feeling this is a Europe-only game. But do not quote me on that. It's a game that I don't see selling as well here as compared to how well it sells in Europe. I mean, it's available on Steam on the PC over here in the States. but I've never seen it on a platform that here in the States. So yeah, I mean, aside from that, continue.
Yeah, right. And then the last big one that they announced, which was actually rumored around a long time ago.
I'm freaking out over this one.
Yeah, everyone is really excited for this one. They're bringing Borderlands 2 to the Vita, which is awesome.
That's amazing. That was the biggest shocker for me this conference, to be honest with you, is when they were showing the backgrounds saying like, okay, well, this is coming to the Vita, and we got Lego Marvel, we got Football Manager, and then all of a sudden they showed Borderlands 2, and I had to look twice. I'm like, no.
Yeah, it shocked me, but then I remembered back. I was like, I forget who it was, but someone said something about that when Borderlands 2 was coming out. That there was a rumor about it going to the Vita, and if they can pull it off, which I'm sure they can, because the Vita's really easy to develop for apparently, and it's got the hardware capabilities. That's going to be a really big success story, I think.
Well, yeah, I mean, Borderlands 2 was just a fantastic game. I remember when I got the review copy for that last year. Yeah. I scored it a 9.5. But that was 34 hours of my weekend well spent.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be one of the biggest games that the Vita has yet.
Yes, yeah, I think so.
I mean, Borderlands 2 is absolutely huge, and I'm really wondering what they're going to do with the online capabilities of the Vita. How they're going to handle that.
All I'll say is if you go on the site, my staff member has covered an article about basically what you can expect with Borderlands 2 as of right now, currently, based on what a 2K developer was saying. So basically, the game is coming in 2014. They have numerous people working on this. Sony is publishing Borderlands 2 for the Vita, which is a pretty big shock, actually.
Yeah.
And just as another thing is Iron Monkey, they just released Dive Kick on the Vita. They are also involved with the port of Borderlands 2 to the Vita.
Wow, didn't know that. That's cool. Well, there you go.
Details are on the site if you guys check it out.
Yeah, and that's in the description, so look into it. So that is the first big chunk of Vita news. The second big chunk of Vita news is something they should have done a long time ago, and they made a price cut for the Vita. So now it is $199 in North America and 199 euros in Europe. They're also doing a price reduction on the memory cards as well, because those things are god-awful expensive. And this is just one of the best moves they could ever make.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the Vita it's worth the money if it had the game library, but it doesn't have the game library. And people, they need to get the Vita out there to get the games, started. So I think this is a really good starting move for that, and I expect big things now. Big sales, hopefully.
Well, yeah. I mean, basically, between, Killzone Mercenary, Batman Arkham Origins, and Borderlands 2, I'm stoked for a couple games with my Vita finally.
Yeah, for sure. And hopefully, the online community is going to grow. I mean, the community that has Vita will grow with this price cut. That was just a smart move that they should have made earlier, but at least they're making it.
Yeah, they are.
So those are the biggest things for the Vita. Then they announced a few more, actually not even a few, like 7 new IPs for the Vita, and majority of those are indie titles, if not all of them, I believe. The two they showed were Murasaki Baby, which is a touch-controlled side-scroller and creepy as fuck. Seriously, I don't know if you saw the video on when they were playing it, but this chick had a mouth on her forehead.
Sounds pretty legit.
Oh, and there was a big-ass nose with legs falling around. And it's a really interesting art style. It's definitely unforgettable. I highly recommend looking up the trailer for it, and it reminds me a lot of Escape Plan. But it looks interesting. Not gonna grab it because it's gonna give me nightmares.
There you have it.
Yeah, and then the other big title that they announced was Big Fest, which is a free-to-play game, and it's a game where you manage a music festival, which is very interesting. I was talking to you earlier, and I said it reminded me a lot of Sim Theme Park. It's got that whole, you are literally managing this entire event, and so you bring in all the attractions, you sign all the, not sign, but you bring in all these real unsigned bands to play for you. You choreograph. I made up a word. Choreograph everything that goes on at a traditional music festival for success, basically. And I don't know. It looks fun, looks interesting.
It looks like it's something I want to corrugate into my Vita. I think I just butchered that word. Fuck it.
Yeah, hey, we're both making up shit.
All right, good. No, but it is definitely a really cool idea. I think something like that would work tremendously well on the Vita. It's a perfect way to kill a little bit of time, just for those quick pick up and play sessions. Just Sim Theme Park was always a great game. I always loved something like Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Yeah.
Very similar concepts. So I'm very excited to see this. I mean, it's something a little bit more original with the fact that it actually features real unsigned bands.
Yeah, I think that's a very cool thing I mean, it's just got that whole realism sense to it, and then it's also getting the name out for those guys too. So it's really neat to see that integration.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and so I mean, we'll see what happens with that one. I think you're right. I think it's be great for the Vita, just because it seems like one of those games you can just pick up, do a little something, and then put it away for a little bit later, and then it's a nice one of those things to have on the go.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that pretty much summed it up for the Vita. For the most part, it does make more appearances within the conference. But then they, of course, brought Mark Cerny on the stage, who is the lead system architect for the PS4. And he starts to talk about the hardware and how everything's, everything we've already heard, how everything works really well, and how it's all the games get integrated into the system, and how everything's really easy to develop for. And that kind of transitioned into how the PS4 is really helping to support the indie devs, which is a cool little side tale to what's going on. It's sort of behind the scenes, how it's helping them with self-publishing. It's even helping them financially, and really just get started. And it made them seem really buddy with the indie devs, which, true or not, I think it's awesome.
Yeah, and I think that's going to go a long way, because indie games have become the next big thing. It's no longer as big with these AAA games, because realistically, we're getting these AAA games on a yearly basis, and I think I know which franchises I'm referring to. Mm-hmm. But these indie games have been this nice breath of fresh air, where we've seen some very unique, very original titles, and some that even harken back to the days of some of the more retro style games which I love. Mm-hmm. So all more power to them, because with the PS4 having 100% indie development support, that's going to go a long way for them.
Yeah, it really will, because, I mean, indie devs are just popping up like mad now, and they're making, like you said, they're making some great stuff. And so it's really nice to see that Sony's really worked with them, and it's just making it basically like an open door for them. And so they led from there, using that sort of that open door concept to just throw out so many different indie titles during this conference that I don't even remember what half of them were. There were just so many right in a row that are debuting on the PS4 and or the PS Vita, first or exclusively coming too. And so among that list is Rogue Legacy, Blinding of Isaac, which PlayStation Plus members will get for free, N Double Plus, which is coming out this winter, Volume, which is exclusive to the PS4 and Vita, Guns of Icarus Online, Wasteland Kings, and Hotline Miami 2 Wrong Number, which is coming exclusively to PS4 and PS Vita, or debut exclusively to those two. I mean, half of those I haven't even heard of, which is awesome. And the other half that I have heard of is great. So I got nothing on that. I'm just really excited to see what all these turn out, how great they turn out to be.
The funny thing is, I actually, when I saw Guns of Icarus Online on the list, I'm like, wow, really? And that ended up being just a random game I just purchased on Steam, literally like last week or 2 weeks ago for like $6. And awesome. It's actually a pretty cool game. It's basically this online multiplayer game where you have to cooperatively work with your teammates, because you and the other team each man your own airship. So basically imagine Assassin's Creed's whole naval combat, but instead of on the sea, you're in the air. And each player has to do something integral, whether you're fixing a piece in the engine, whether you're manning a certain turret, whether you're the captain of the ship, driving it.
Right.
And I think that's actually really cool. So when I saw that coming to PS4, I'm like, you know what? That could be actually a really fun online game for the PS4 for sure. So I was actually kind of excited seeing that on the list.
Yeah, definitely. I wish I had a chance to play some of these before, but I've just been sort of jumping on the indie bandwagon too, like with Stealth Inc. and Ibn Ab and some of the other ones that I've grabbed that I have on my Vita. I love indie games on the Vita. Like, they just seem to fit so well.
Yeah, the Vita is for me a prime platform to have to have indie games on because they're just I don't know, they don't feel like they're these console style games where you have to sit down and like clock in all this amount of time that you have to put aside to play.
Right.
They're just these simple yet complex games that just provide something very fresh and unique.
Mm-hmm. Oh, completely. So beyond that, they moved on to talk about more games that are coming for the PS4. And they slid a little tidbit in there saying that Sony Santa Monica, Media Molecule, and Naughty Dog are all working on unannounced titles for the PS4. And as we mentioned earlier, that's all extremely obvious and expected, but interesting that they're all unannounced. Could be anything.
I'm saying new IPs for all three of them.
I'm hoping so. As much as I love Uncharted from Naughty Dog, which I'm sure they're going to bring something like that to the PS4. I really want to see something new for them because they do awesome work.
Yeah, I mean, between Sony Santa Monica, I don't want to see another God of War. I want to see something new.
Oh God, yes.
Nothing against God of War. It's just let's I think it's time for something new. Just because by the time Ascension came out, while it was cool, it starts to feel a bit stale at this point.
Yeah, this last one was mainly pushed out was pushed out for the multiplayer. The story sucked ass. I'm sorry. So they need to let God of War rest. God of War 3 was the perfect ending to the series. Let's call it good. Let's call it an epic conclusion and move on.
Media Molecule, we were just mentioning. I really do think they're working on a new IP. And then Naughty Dog, do I see them really working on Uncharted 4? Yes and no. And the reason why I'm going to say Naughty Dog is doing a new IP, the PlayStation 1 era, Crash Bandicoot was their IP, and that was their only IP. The PlayStation 2 era, Jak and Daxter was their only IP. PlayStation 3, they're Uncharted 1, 2, and 3. And then to do the perfect send-off letter, and if you want to look at it very metaphorically, The Last of Us, ironically, is the last perfect PlayStation 3 game in my opinion. Well, again, it's early to say, we don't know how Beyond Two Souls is going to be.
Right,
but
right.
I would say Naughty Dog's perfect send-off letter to the PS3. So when it comes to the PS4, I see them more like, okay, you know what? We did a new IP at the end of the PlayStation 3's life cycle, and it sold like crazy and scored tremendously well amongst critics and consumers alike.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's fair to say that if Naughty Dog does another new IP that they turn into a franchise now for the PS4, that'll be their system seller. It can be called Mother Shabubu's Kitchen, and it's going to sell like hotcakes if it's got Naughty Dog's name on it. That's basically.
Yeah, I'd buy that shit. I love me some hotcakes. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think you summed it up really well. That's pretty much part of my thoughts too. I think I think that they're going to try for. My personal opinion is that Naughty Dog will try for a new IP, and it's probably going to do extremely well. But I think they're going to have that Uncharted in the pocket for later.
I think
just in case.
More when they learn the tech of the system, they're going to
really utilize it once they understand it better.
Yeah.
Yeah. So beyond those games, and the indie titles just mentioned, they also showed more games at the conference, or at least they showed them, but they're all teaser trailers, so we didn't really see a whole lot of what they're about. But they definitely grabbed your attention. The Chinese Room's new game, Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, running on CryEngine 3, and it looked very pretty, and it looked very intriguing. It's an apocalyptic theme, and beyond that, we don't know a whole lot. At least I don't know a whole lot.
All I'll say is if it's running on CryEngine 3, it's going to be a pretty visually stunning game.
It will be, and I love games. Resistance was the first one that did that teaser trailer that ends out with a very quiet and slow, and then radio, and like you hear someone's voice or something, and they did that, and it's I don't know, apocalyptic themes really get me, and I think they get everyone else's attention too. So keep an eye out for that one. Also, Tequila Works, which is known for Deadlight on Xbox Live, has a new game, Rime, which is spelled R-I-M-E, for those who are looking that up on Google right now. And that one, we didn't see much at all. I have no idea what that one's about, but it looked like an interesting art style, slightly cartoonish, looked like an adventure game. Beyond that, I got nothing.
Fair enough.
They showed like nothing, but it looked cool. Just kind of need to see more, you know?
I'm excited for that, mainly because Deadlight was one of those recent Xbox Live Arcade games, actually within the last probably within the last year or two, that caught my attention because the game was all in a silhouette style.
Mm-hmm.
I remember it was an Xbox Live Arcade exclusive, and I never got around to actually trying it, but it was one of those games that definitely caught my attention. So hearing that now Tequila Works is working on a new game for the PS4 has me excited, just to see what else they have.
Yeah, I'm not very familiar with Tequila Works, so I'm interested to see how this turns out. Might be a good company to look into in the future.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, then they also announced Helldivers, which is a co-op squad-based shooter for PS3, PS4, and PS Vita. It's a futuristic overhead shooter, so it's co-op, and it's one of those like gauntlet-style games from the looks of it. So, not much else on that. It looked fun. One of those definitely grab 3 people and sit on your couch and play games, which I love those. So.
Yeah, just before we continue with this, did they have any release windows for these games? Did they say if this is during launch time, or is this going to be like between launch and like within this first year?
From what I remember, they didn't say anything about the release time for these, unless it's specifically a winter. I'm assuming that it's going to be within the first year. Otherwise, they might not even bother. But that's just my personal assumptions.
Gotcha. Okay.
So we'll just have to see. Another game they announced is Resogun, which is from the developers of Super Stardust HD and Dead Nation. And it's basically, to me, it looked exactly like Super Stardust HD, but instead of a sphere, you're traversing on a cylinder, going left and right, round and stuff. Looked like lots of fun, very colorful, very active, very intense, but to me, it looked a lot like Super Stardust HD.
And there's nothing wrong with that, because...
No, that game was great. It was a blast.
Those are just those great pick-up-and-play, intense games.
Yeah, and it looked like if I was into acid, I would want to do some acid and play that game. There's nothing wrong with that, sort of. But more games. Shadow of the Beast is getting a reimagining, which is only going to be on PS4. They showed a very nice cinematic trailer for that, which I have no idea what it's about. Never heard it before in my life, but it looked sweet. And then then they did some recaps of the titles we've seen at E3, and that pretty much sums it up. They also showed off War Thunder, which is an aerial warfare MMO that's going to be on PS4, and that one looked legit.
I'm hearing a lot about that one.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of airplane games out there. There are a few, and from what I've heard, those aren't that great, and this one looked pretty sweet.
Yeah, the only 2 airplane games I actually liked, and ironically, one of them was one of my first games on the PS3, was Blazing Angels, the first one.
Right.
Great World War II flying game. And Ace Combat Assault Horizon was a great game. But yeah, I think I'm completely okay with more aerial warfare games.
Yeah.
There's definitely not that much of a market for it right now. Like, there's not an oversaturation in it, so by all means, I welcome it, and I think something like that would be pretty cool. Yeah,
definitely. I remember thinking back in the old PC games and PS1 games, there were a lot of aerial warfare games.
Yeah, there were.
There really were. It was popular, and they really died out. But I think, personal opinion, Battlefield has sort of brought that back with the jets and everything in there, because that works pretty well. But they definitely could make a whole game expanded on that for sure.
Yeah.
I'm not into those too much myself, but then again, I did the demo for Hawks once, and that was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, that was all right.
Yeah. But another big title, actually, that they announced, which is going to be available at the launch of the PS4, and I know my brother's going to be really excited once he comes home and hears this, because he'll have 2 games to play on the PS4. Battlefield 4 and Minecraft.
The fuck?
Right?
They're like polar opposites. One's nitty-gritty, like, war shoot-'em-up, and the other one's... I can't say I've ever really played Minecraft.
It's a bunch of square blocks. Well, those are only the 2 games he plays, and he's never going to listen to this, so fuck him. But they've been pushing for it for a long time. They've been rumors, they've been bribing Notch and doing whatever they can to get it to the PlayStation, and it's finally coming there. So I know tons of people are thrilled for it. Yeah,
it was a big surprise, I think, when they said that I was going through the Twitter feed, and I just saw the amount of people that flipped out when they saw Minecraft coming to the PS4, because it makes me laugh, because Minecraft, you have the 360 version, and it actually says Minecraft Xbox 360 edition. Then they have Minecraft Xbox One edition. Now you have Minecraft PS4 edition. Do we really need an edition for every freaking console? Does it have to tell you what console you're getting it on?
Personal opinion, just grab Tekkit on PC and just have a blast. Because that's never going to get old, you know.
I mean, but no, that was massive news when they said it was coming to the PS4. I mean, I'm definitely going to check it out just because the launch window of a console is always exciting. Whether it may not have the best games at launch, it always invites you to check out other games as well. So something like that coming out day one, it's got my attention.
Yeah, I'm not going to grab it.
I'll grab it to see what the big deal is and see if it's even worth that big deal, but we'll see.
Fair enough. Look out for a review, I guess.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Not promising anything on that
one. Right. So then they did a little bit of recap of what we've seen at E3 just to, fuel us. They showed a new trailer for Infamous Second Son, and they showed off some of his absorption abilities to absorb other conduits, superpowers. And so that was interesting. You got to see some gameplay in there, which was kind of nice. Kind of hoping it was a little bit on the rough end, because it might have just been the room or something, but there was some weird stuff going on in one of the scenes at least. But definitely grabbed my attention for the story, showing that little conflict between the main character and his brother, just sort of how they deal with different people throughout the game, conduits, humans, etc. Definitely has to be. I'm super psyched. I love Infamous, so I'm gonna platinum that one.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah. Infamous 1 was an outstanding game. Infamous 2 was even better in a lot of elements.
Yeah.
Even though I think the end of Infamous 1, that I won't spoil for anybody who hasn't played it yet, was just a little bit more on the epic, climactic side than Infamous 2 for me.
Yeah, I agree it was more epic, but damn, Infamous 2, though, was just, that was solid.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, Infamous 2, both games are excellent. So Infamous Second Son obviously is already going to be that game that's very anticipated for me on the PS4.
Yeah, and I'm really excited that they're doing a sequel to the Infamous games with, in the future, still staying true to the series, but having it different characters, different scenarios, and everything. I'm really excited to see that it's one of those things where they drift away from a game, but they're still in the game. They're still using everything that they've had before, but they're just expanding on it and just making a nice twist in there.
Yeah. Yeah, they're definitely expanding on it. I would say they're definitely just expanding on the universe itself, and just just deviate from the main character and explore what if another character was a conduit, had a different ability to them, and why don't we explore this other character that was whether gifted or cursed with this?
Yeah, exactly. It's just great that they took the option of almost reimagining the series as a whole and going forward with it, which I think is really nice, great way to keep attention. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yep. And then of course they showed off Killzone Shadowfall, which is huge for PlayStation right now. Just the Killzone series. Obviously it's gonna be launch title. They showed some multiplayer footage, some new guns in there, showed some maps. It was running very smoothly, looked like a lot of fun. They really wanted to stress the fact that Warzone returns, but not in the Killzone 3 Warzone, more so in the Killzone 2 Warzone, in the fact that you have lots of customization options on how to set up your Warzone games. So you can go in and edit, respawns, lives, what equipment you can use, all sorts of different things, all sorts of different options that they had in there. They only showcased a few, and then so you'll be able to go online, and unlike Killzone 3, which online was regrettably worse than Killzone 2, you'd be able to search for all these custom games as well as customized official games as well. So obviously there's a ranked and unranked section that we're going to see for ranking up, which is just great to have that return.
Yeah, no question. Granted, I loved Killzone 2's multiplayer. I really loved Killzone 3's multiplayer. I just clocked in a lot of time with both of them. But there's no denying that Killzone Shadowfall is going to be quite possibly the biggest multiplayer title for the PS4 at launch.
Right. Yeah. For sure. I'm looking forward to it the most out of any of the other games.
Yeah, same here. Well, as of launch day, yeah, I'd say in terms of exclusives, Killzone Shadowfall is going to be the game to.
You just like narrowed it down to like only Killzone.
Yeah, I was going to say. I'm like, well, there's that and Drive Club and Knack. That's about it.
Yeah.
And
I see what you did there.
We have indies.
Okay, fair. Yeah.
These are retail exclusives. We have 3 games.
Oh, Jesus.
Hey, listen, we got multi-plat support. I mean, there's plenty of those games coming out.
Yeah, those games are going to be great as well. So, not to harp on those.
No, not to harp on.
No, not at all. Not at all. So, moving away from the games, they were talking a little bit more about some of the other features that are coming to the PS4. Twitch, of course, I believe they mentioned that before. It's coming to PS4, which is the live stream ability. So that's included without subscription or anything. That's wonderful.
And this is one thing I love about this whole thing with Twitch being on the PS4. It really brings back to me the concept of, I remember back in the day, I used to watch my brother play certain games, whether it was Resident Evil or Tomb Raider. And I feel like with this, like, since we're so, we're on opposite sides of the country, I could actually, like, if he's playing a game, I could actually just sit there and watch him to Twitch and still talk to him as if it was me and him hanging out again. And, and I think this could, I don't know, I'm actually pretty excited about this, about live streaming. Well, not even just that, but then obviously, me and you could be having a kick-ass match in Killzone that we're live streaming, like stuff like that. I just also, at the same token, as a switch off, see the whole uniqueness to Twitch dying out quick because now everybody's going to have it.
Yeah, and that's sort of what I'm worried about too, is with the whole uploading your content. The past 15 minutes is everyone's going to be able to do it. It's going to be overwhelming. Like, I'm not going to be able to thrive on YouTube. I'm already not thriving unless they release a Monster Hunter, which they're not going to do. Fuck you, Sony. So it's just it's too bad. But at the same time, it is great opportunity for everyone out there. So yeah, I'm torn.
Yeah, I see the pros and cons on both of it, but regardless, I would definitely say the pros are definitely outweighing the cons for me at the current moment. But
yeah, I agree with that. Mm-hmm.
But no, definitely cool stuff. Definitely a cool thing to have on the PS4.
Yep. And so they also talked about some of the video media and music services and how they're not going to be hidden behind PlayStation Plus, which, I mean, that just seems like an obvious choice to me. Everyone was like, woo, and I was like, yeah, you didn't see that coming? Like, come on.
I was going to say, like, when have they done this?
Yeah, right. So that's cool. They're also releasing a bunch of updates for Music Unlimited, talking about easily listening to that music behind the games at all times, which is, sort of rare on PS3. You get that in-game music option, but now with the whole new architecture the PS4 carries on, it's just something that's easily thrown in there, which is great.
Yeah, and Music Unlimited is actually a really cool platform. I have been testing that out ever since they did like a deal on it back in December for like $12 for the year. And honestly, it is a really cool app, and I really encourage a lot of other people to check it out.
Good.
It might be something really cool to use with the PS4 down the line.
Yeah, I think it'll be a lot more useful with the PS4 than it has been with the PS3, which is nice. Yeah. So, they were talking about some third-party games being available to launch PS4. So, as we just mentioned, exclusives. There's more games at the launch. Assassin's Creed Black Flag? Sure.
Sure, all right, we can roll with that.
Assassin's Creed Black Flag, Watch Dogs. I think Minecraft and War Thunder are also available at the launch. I could be wrong there.
Well, yeah, Minecraft I know is day one.
Right. I'm not sure about War Thunder, but it might be.
It'd be great if it is.
Yeah. But something interesting here is apparently they're going to make a Watch Dogs movie. Which
I think is awesome.
Me too. I almost want to buy the movie more than I want to buy the game.
Yeah, you know what?
Already.
I felt the same way. I just see it, like, the game looks phenomenal. But as a movie, if done right, I mean, all the concepts are there. All the pieces are there to make this amazing movie out of it.
That first, what was it, the E3 trailer they showed for it? Throw that shit in a movie. That's awesome. Base the whole thing around that 3-minute scene. I will be so psyched.
I would be stoked seeing that in the theater.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no.
You'd find someone awesome to play Aiden Pierce.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of somebody right now, but
I know, right? I got my favorites lined up, but I don't know. I feel like Matt Damon might be able to pull it off,
No.
but he's sort of been in a lot of those roles already, so
Yeah, I know.
they need someone new. We'll worry about that another time. But also, there's exclusive content for the PS3 and PS4. About 60 extra minutes of gameplay, a new mission, as well as a new costume and a new buff, hacking buff. So that's kind of cool. We did get to see some new information in a trailer about the story for Watch Dogs, about how there's apparently a group that has narrowed down Aaron Pierce. They're sort of like, I don't really get it. Maybe I might be wrong here. Correct me, but it seems as if this group, and I forget what they're called because it's a weird name, is almost jealous of Aiden Pierce. Like they're the terrorists, like the good terrorists, who kind of wanted to do what Aiden Pierce did, and now they're mad.
Well, yeah, I mean, it would make sense. I mean, Aiden Pierce is basically this badass hacker who has the capabilities of completely shutting down society with the click of a button on his phone.
Yeah.
I mean, the premise about Watch Dogs alone is it's very relatable.
Yeah, very realistic, I feel.
Yeah, very realistic. Ubisoft's kind of gearing toward that route, especially with their other game, The Division, which they didn't touch base on here. I know they touched base on it more at Microsoft's conference, mainly because they're doing exclusive content on the Xbox One for that game. But I mean, both games being from Ubisoft, they're both in very relatable situations.
So it's pretty cool. I love that relatable, that realistic sort of mentality, which is I think that really draws people in. And I don't know, I'm just really excited to see what Watch Dogs turns into as far as the story. We'll not be playing multiplayer at all, but the story for sure.
Yeah, no, that game for me is all about the story.
Yeah. So that pretty much summed it up for the most part. One other big thing to note about the PS4, PS Vita connectivity is the fact that, again, they're stressing this remote play thing about how the Vita is going to remote play just about every single game that the PS4 has. And they showed some Assassin's Creed Black Flag earlier at the conference today on remote play, and it's worked extremely well, I thought.
Yeah, no, I ran pretty smooth, very smooth. I was actually pretty shocked because at first I'm like, remote play, how laggy you've been.
Yeah, it has been shit in the past, but now I think they might actually have something. I'm going to hold my tongue and wait and see. But
yeah, let's wait and test it out ourselves when it comes down to the console launching, or better yet, if I get a chance at New York Comic Con, if they have a Vita, or hookup, that would be great.
Yeah, that it would be. So that pretty much sums it up. They had one more thing to say about everyone's focusing right now, since Call of Duty kind of came out with it, saying that you can move your save from current gen to next gen. And so Sony is pushing this deal on people for Call of Duty Ghosts, Watch Dogs, Battlefield 4, and Assassin's Creed 4, that if you buy the PS3 version within a time frame, you can get the PS4 version at a discounted price, which is great move. I mean, kind of sucks you have to buy the game twice. I don't know why you would do that. I'm just going to wait and plan ahead, I guess. But that's me. But for everyone else that wants to grab it as soon as it comes out and then upgrade, I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I'm looking at it, I'm like, yeah, you know what? Call of Duty Ghost, I'm not buying that. Watch Dogs, I'm just going to get on PS4. Battlefield 4, I'm just going to get on PS4. Assassin's Creed 4, well, I didn't even get I got through 20 minutes of part 3 and I just couldn't even play it anymore. So that answers my question about 4. So
yeah.
I won't be getting that, but there's no rush. I feel like if you wait another week or two, you could just save money.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it doesn't exactly apply to me, but some people are going to really like it, and it just shows that they're thinking about the consumers in one sense or another.
Yeah.
So that's lovely.
However, I think the biggest news, obviously waiting until the last moment.
Oh, of course.
The biggest news is that the PS4 is not coming out this year. It's coming out next year.
Yep. Sorry, guys.
Sorry.
Got to wait a few more months. Many more months.
Well, that may be the case if you did not pre-order your console, because this bad boy console is coming out November 15th.
November 15th in North America and November 29th in Europe.
I'm counting down the days. I literally put in my time off slip the second that I heard November 15th. I already had the time off slip in front of me writing it out.
Perfect. I don't know where I'll be at job-wise, but I'm going to get it off.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? I think I put in for Monday also. I'm like, I might need an extended weekend.
Yeah, I think it's a I was so relieved when I looked at the calendar and saw that it's November 15th is a Friday, because that is a fucking smart move.
And they did the same thing with the PlayStation 3. They released it on a Friday in mid-November.
Did they really? Didn't know that.
Because I remember I went to go see Casino Royale, which is movies come out usually on a Friday. And I remember right before going to see that movie, I quickly went to Best Buy to go check out a PS3, and they had the demo of MotorStorm right there.
Nice. Yeah, the 2 games that had MotorStorm and Resistance.
Yeah, they never had a demo of Resistance up there, though. It was a shame, because that was the game that sold me on the system.
Yeah, exactly. We could talk. I love Resistance. We could talk about that some other time.
We could do a Resistance podcast easily.
Oh, for sure. But yeah, so definitely mark your calendars. And like G said, if you don't have a pre-order, you might be waiting until next year. Because they've been pushing out pre-orders like mad at GameStop and Amazon and other retailers, infinite pre-orders for like a week or two, and then it runs out. So, I mean, pretty much what I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe what they have on pre-orders is what they have to sell.
Yeah, as of right now, I know that they made a statement saying that they have over 1 million pre-orders at the moment, which is a pretty nice number.
Yeah, across 32 countries for a release date. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really solid number. I mean, basically what it comes down to is Sony released the floodgates telling retailers they can keep taking pre-orders as much as they need to, apparently. If you go to GameStop, they're going to ask that you put $100 down.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to Best Buy, they're going to ask that you put $25 down.
Oh, that's it?
That's it.
Jeez.
And it actually, heads up, if you go to Best Buy and pre-order the PS4, as well as a game, which in my case I pre-ordered Killzone, they give you a $10 gift card. Yeah, it's not much, but hey, might as well get a gift card out of it.
Yeah, I'm getting my Power Up reward points on my PS4, all my games, and my brother's PS4 and his 2 games.
Nice, banking in on double the points.
Oh yeah, it's going to be great.
That's great.
So that pretty much sums up the Sony 2013 Gamescom conference. Lots of love for indie devs, and a few little features thrown in there, some nice little tidbits, some good information that really just narrows the gap in between now and the release date of November 15th for North America and November 29th for Europe. I am just super excited, especially after seeing a few big points that really hit home for me today. Can't wait.
I'm counting down the days. We've got less than 3 months until in 3 months this time we'll be playing Killzone Online.
Oh, 3 months this time I'm gonna have a beard down in my balls. I'm not gonna move. I'm just playing.
Oh, but okay.
Hey, don't judge me.
I didn't say anything. I just said it's just too much info. I didn't judge you.
I felt it. I felt it.
You felt judged?
I did.
Well,
I did.
You should.
I am a true gamer. I don't move. I put in a catheter myself and play for a week straight.
That's great. So, yeah. All right, guys. Well, it's been great being here. Definitely sound off in comments. Let us know what games are you guys excited to get on the launch day of the PlayStation 4.
Yeah, for sure. And definitely check out gamersatstream.org. Always new content going up there just about every single day. You can follow them on Twitter, and they're also on Facebook, so check them out. Also, subscribe to me on YouTube. I'm also on Twitter, so check me out. That's about it. Thanks for watching, guys. Really appreciate it. Like, comment, rate, subscribe, and we'll catch you guys later.